Hi, quick spoiler warning for this video. This one's going to have spoilers for most of the classic 70s, 80s, and 90s slashers, including some more recent ones, which I wanted to especially make sure that you were aware of. It's going to have spoilers for The Boy, which was 2016, and House of Wax, which I've fully fucking forgotten when that one came out. Also, I recorded this video originally while in the throes of recovering from some severe flu-like symptoms. So if I seem particularly delirious or deranged, that is why. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy.
Hi, I'm Eve Adams, and I thought a fun way for us to get to know each other a little better would be with a tier list. So today I'm going to be ranking some of my favorite slashers and slasher-like characters, not based on how strong I think they are, or on if I think their movies are any good, but just purely based on if I think they're a good sweet boy and if I love them. So let's get right into it. Okay, so here's my little tier list I made, custom for the occasion. You can see the tiers here. I've labeled them pretty distinctly, right? We've got nothing wrong. Back to the drawing board basically means I think that your idea was strong, but your execution was maybe a little weak, or you've got a couple kinks you need to iron out. You're awful, I love you. Also pretty self-explanatory. I can't, support or defend any aspect of what's going on here, but it's got that, fun, jazzy energy that I just really like. Then there's get a grip. You need fucking help, but I'm willing to give you that help. And then below that, prison and then hell. I'm not fucking willing to help you. Get out of here. So we're going to dive on in. First off, let's start with Amanda from Saw, who, yes, I have included on the slasher tier list. I'm going to put her in back to the drawing board, I think, because I really do think that Amanda's working with something very powerful. I think she's very sexy. I think she's very sensual. um, I like the concept of her, whole vibe of, Jigsaw. It has this really strong, like, moral, guiding principle. And then Amanda, is kind of trying to adhere to it, but is also just so full of rage and like bitterness that she can't even actually do it well. Um, I think that's a very, very fun and sexy energy. But I do think she kind of needs to get a better handle on it. Her traps, though, unwinnable and evil and completely contrary to the whole point of what Jigsaw is doing, they were some of my favorites. I don't know. She's creative. She's a silly little girl. I love her. Um, Completely in the opposite direction, though. John Kramer, get a fucking grip. What's your fucking problem? Um, I do think fundamentally, uh, I would probably, under certain circumstances, place him higher. It's like, does witnessing the cold, unfeeling, business-like machinations of the American healthcare system justify you starting to murder people? Yes, but I think that his attitude going into it is a little weak. I think he needs a better handle on the victims, right? Really early on in the movies, we're already seeing like some of these people are like Wall Street brokers who are like doing insider trading to like buy more prostitutes to cheat on their wives with. And then some people have clinical depression. And I just can't support that, John. Like, under no circumstances can I really, like, no amount of artistry or theatrics can really pull me back from that one. I'm sorry. Uh, Still not as bad, though, as Hoffman, who is going in prison and then hell. No further elaboration. I don't fucking like the guy. I don't really have any particular reason to like him any less than anyone else. I don't care for him. I think he's a fucking creep. Now, moving on into some of our traditional slashics. I'm gonna put Ghostface in You're Awful, I Love You. And this applies to every Ghostface. There's been a lot of people behind that mask, and I don't think a single one of them has ever made a correct decision. But, again, there's that artistry. There's that fruity little twinge to it, to all of them, that I just really like. I am loving it, Everything that Ghostface does is just so like silly. He's in a silly, goofy mood, and I'm in the mood with him, girl. I am fucking here for it. Um, I love watching like teenage girls beat his ass. Uh, that's a very common theme with me. I love to watch a girl beat a man up. And that happens a lot in these movies, and I love it every time. Every time some girl, whacks him over the head, trips him, pushes him over a couch, it's a delight every time. Very excited for the new movie. I hope whoever the ghost face is in this one, Sydney just like throttles him. I want her to just like grab him and like whack him around like it's a Hanna-Barbera cartoon, you know? Jason, I think needs to go back to the drawing board. I think, I can't really say he did nothing wrong. Just because, I don't know, maybe I'm being a little too harsh on him because I do have some similar slashers who I'm going to have a very different opinion on. I think I will put him in did nothing wrong because, I just think he needs to get away from like his mother's energy, and that's something we can all relate to, I think. Um, I don't mean that, Mom, if you're watching this, I didn't mean that. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean that. But like, I think he's very attached to what his mother taught him and his past traumas, and he's really letting that guide like all of his kills. Even ones that aren't, directly related to Crystal Lake or having sex and then being murdered by Jason Voorhees. That's really kind of the predominant energy he gives. And I think he really needs to branch out and be his own person without being in a movie where he gets sent to space, you know? Freddy, Prison and then Hell. I know a lot of people like him. I really like the movies. I'm too much of a Nancy stan to put him any fucking higher in this tier list. I don't care for him. I don't care whether, what canon it is, whether he's a pedophile or not. Put him in prison and send him to hell. He's already there. You can't fucking complain. He's already in prison and then hell. I'm just stating the facts. Okay, so now I'm going to put us into another little franchise chunk. We're going to talk about House of Wax. Which, it has cult classic status. I like it. I'm not saying all this to like be like, but I hate it. It's just a little lesser known, and it's one of those modern, really obvious attempts to like create a new iconic slasher, which is one of those things that just sort of ends up feeling more and more blatant the more years we get away from some of the original, like really classic slashers. And then, I mean, it was a fairly good, it was a solid attempt. Vincent, I think, needs to go back to the drawing board, right? He's our sort of Leatherface of the film, in a way. He's very, artistically oriented. He's got the big semi-human but slightly off mask going on with the wax. I like his energy. I think he's really dragged down by his brother, Bo, who I am going to put in Get a Grip. I think the get a grip to back to the drawing board relationship is very strong in a lot of these, right? We've got it here with John and Amanda, and now we've got it with Bo and Vincent. I think you've got sort of a really, inexcusable douchey guy that just sort of ends up dragging down someone who I think could just really go fully unhinged on their own and be way cooler, Like if Vincent or Amanda just had totally fucked off and started doing their insane shit on their own time, I think they'd be much sweeter boys, in my opinion. But they've got to deal with all these other motherfuckers telling them what's what, and it clouds their head and it clouds their pure artistic vision. Now, House of Wax, you want to talk about pure artistic vision? That third motherfucking brother who just is a weirdo hick who drives around and picks up roadkill and is kind of creepy but generally very polite to Jared Padalecki and his girlfriend. I think he didn't do a damn thing wrong. Was he helping his brothers lure people into town so they could kill them and turn them into wax figures? Maybe. It's unclear, and I'm using that benefit of the doubt to stan him. I think he's totally fine. Now, also, in terms of, modern slasher bait, but really, obvious and, like, on purpose, we have Leslie Vernon from Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon. I'm biased. I really like mockumentaries. I know that I said this wasn't about if I like the movie or not. It's just about the slasher. But by being in a mockumentary, Leslie Vernon exists in this world where, being a slasher is kind of like an accepted career path, or like a known, like, option in this world in a way. Um, and so, I mean, he's just following his dreams. He's just being what he knows he's meant to be. I can't fault a man for that. There's nothing wrong with that. I feel like this is also going to paint a really grim image of me. There's going to be a lot of people in the did nothing wrong tier. Um, so when I said that we're going to be getting to know each other, I mean, like, when you're on, like, a first date and the girl is like, yeah, I collect, like, Fabergé eggs. And you're just kind of like, oh. And I collect broken little boys. Speaking of broken little boys and modern slashers, uh, and people who are going to go in the did nothing wrong tier, Brahms the boy. I know that the movie kind of wants me to think he's like a sex pervert weirdo, but I don't believe it, okay? He's a guy who has been neglected by his parents and needs things done every day in a very particular way. And that is just most of my friend group. So I really can't hold any strong animosity towards him for any, like, lengthy period of time. I think he's one of those cases where, in horror movies, people grab some weird traits out of a hat and then toss them on their bad guy. And then all the weird traits kind of just end up being, like, autistic traits or, like, mentally ill traits. And then I, as a mentally ill, look at it and just go, yeah, that's a little dude. And that's how I feel about Brahms. I think he's just a little dude. I did like him more when he was a doll than when I knew he was a huge man living in the walls of a British mansion. But, like, we've all got our faults. We've all got our problems. And speaking of dolls, it's time to talk about the Chucky family. Chucky himself, I'm gonna put in You're Awful, I Love You. I don't think he's done a damn thing right in his life. But I'm not gonna let that, like, hold him back. He's a funny little doll. I like the movies. I like what he brings to them. I don't want to just be like, well, it's funny that he swears, but it's kind of funny that he's a doll who swears. I see that little doll say fuck, and I get a little chuckle out of it every time. So I gotta hand it to him. Tiffany, back to the drawing board. Now, I do love Tiffany. Make no mistake. I love Tiffany more than I've ever loved any woman in my life. But she's got to stop giving Chucky all these damn ass chances. I know that she's constantly, like, trying to say she'll be her own woman and she's going to break apart from him and all that. But, like, girl, get it together and fucking do it already. I know that they're trying to raise their kid together, but, like, again, with the get a grip back to the drawing board dichotomy. Chucky, I am a bigger fan of than the other two. But I think a very consistent theme in Back to the Drawing Board is being restrained, not by the self, but by the external. And let that be a lesson to all of you. And, really speaking of it, I'm going to put Glenn... I'm going to put him in Did Nothing Wrong. Yeah. He really moved past, that external pressure. Or I'm sorry, they. I should say they. I know that they he, him, Glenn quite a bit in the film. Well, they're gender fluid, right? I would say Glenn probably uses he, they, she pronouns. They all the time, and he, she, depending on, how they're feeling day to day. Not to get into, the politics of the gender identity of a doll that's in seed of Chucky. But I don't know. It's not it's not a good movie. Seed of Chucky's not a good movie. It is a great movie. And I really love Glenn. And I love that he moves past, all of the preconceptions that are placed upon them and tries to become their own weirdo little doll thing. Supposedly, they're going to be in season 2 of the Chucky series, which I'm quite thrilled about. I can't wait to see my little sweet child, Glenn, who I raised. I raised them myself. Oh my god. Okay, we're gonna break the trend a little here. Because I'm actually gonna put Pinhead in Back to the Drawing Board. And don't come for me for this one, okay? Like, fellow, like, weirdo BDSM goths, don't fucking come for me for this one. I understand the argument, of, the Cenobites only come when they're summoned and all that. But you know what one of the most important parts of consent is? Its ability to be revoked at any time. And the Cenobites do a lot of things right? Like when Pinhead notices that, someone has been forced to solve the puzzle box, he's not going to hell torture them forever. I get it. But even if you do solve the box intentionally, I think it's very important that you be able to say, hey, no, I have some hard limits. I need a safe word. I need to be able to back out of this at any time. And I think that's really the greatest failing of the Cenobites. But I also understand that they are demons from hell, and they may not really get that quite yet. So, a little working on that one, and I think they'd have a really great concept going down. Candyman, I feel kind of similar to. I'm putting him in Back to the Drawing Board. I love his energy. I love what he's working with. I think he's valid to do murders. I think he needs to leave the poor people the fuck alone. I'm in a shitty apartment right now. If I'm dealing with, cockroaches coming out of the bathroom, drains and pipes, and, my stove is like tilted at a slight angle, so when I'm trying to cook, everything pools at one side of the pan, and the trash is like never getting fucking picked up. And then you're telling me I gotta worry about Candyman too? Because he lives in the fucking poor neighborhood with me? Are you shitting me? You're a ghost. You're a spirit. Go haunt some other fucking mirrors. Like, I love you. I love what you're bringing to the table. Don't bring it to my fucking table. Go away. Go pack up into Elon Musk's fucking Tesla rear view mirror and get his ass. All right? We're fighting for our goddamn lives out here. Help us out, man. Jeez. Can't stress enough, though, I love Tony Todd. If Tony Todd as Death in the Final Destination series was on this tier list instead, he would absolutely be going in Do Nothing Wrong, and I would be finding him and marrying him. Sexy as hell, perfect man. Really, it's just Candyman's got that little, like, do you have to fucking bother, do you gotta bother me? Like, I'm making rent, and you're in my situation now. I don't love it, but I do love him. Alright, so then wrapping back around to some of our classics and one remake. Let's go with, let's say Billy. Billy is gonna go in You're Awful, I Love You. Billy from Black Christmas. Merry Shitscram. Merry Chrysler, everybody. 'Tis the season. Billy from Black Christmas is gonna go in You're Awful, I Love You. I really can't support like 99% of what he does. But again, I don't know. There's something about it that is just very attractive to me. Don't take that the wrong way. But I love the vibe of the threatening phone call. I think mainly because I literally never pick up my fucking phone, and so it's nothing to me. It's completely meaningless to me because I would never take a call. So it's just like, ooh, he's calling someone, and it's just like, that's no skin off my bones. You gonna make a weird call to me? You can't. You could make a weird text to me. I've certainly gotten a lot of weird messages on Grindr, but a call can't hurt me. Can't touch me. I'm untouchable. And I think that level of distance really helps me, like, just sort of have a dark fondness for Billy. And I don't know. Does that make me a bad person? Maybe. Probably. He's established to be a pretty bad guy. There's a lot of implications of, like, sex crimes and perversion. But they're just vague enough that I can kind of, gloss over it a little when I'm just trying to chill out and have a good time with a fun little Christmas movie. Michael Myers, this is gonna be one of my hottest takes. When I say this, I am talking about Michael Myers from the original Halloween only. I am not talking about any remake, any sequel, any continuation. I am talking about literally just the first film's Michael Myers, and this is still going to be a hot take. I don't think he did anything wrong. I could probably make a video about it if you ask me specifically about my Michael Myers feelings. Um, the long and short of it is, I don't think that when a 5-year-old kills his sister, you should put him in a mid-century era psychological hospital for 2 decades and then expect him to be normal when he comes back out. That is like putting a rat into a blender and expecting an okay rat to come out of the blender. That's just not gonna happen, and you've wronged the rat in trying it. Uh, Again, I'll do a whole video on this if you really ask me to. But Michael in the first movie, in the original film only, in that context of that movie, he was fine. He wasn't fine. He was doing very bad things, but I don't think they were his fault. And also, he was killing suburbanites, and I would never live in the fucking suburbs. Opposite problem to what I have with Candyman. I'm living in a shitty apartment. I don't want Candyman to get me. I would never be living in Haddonfield. You fucking kidding me? I wouldn't be fucking caught dead there. Good God. Michael Myers, no problem. If he ever moves anywhere else, I'm fucked. But like, such is life. Now, the moment I've been waiting for. Bubba also did nothing wrong. That's right. And if you disagree, this is not a safe space for if you fucking come for me on my son, on my boy. Try it. Fucking try it. This is my man. This is my man's, okay? He's my fucking boyfriend. He's my husband. We're legally married. It's gonna be a spring wedding, and it's gonna be beautiful, and I'm in love with him, and I'm going to love him till the day I die, okay? So if you have anything to fucking say about this ranking, about where I'm putting him on the tier list, okay? Fucking come to my fucking house. I'll give you my address, and we can talk about it in person, okay? But I don't think you want to try that. Again, I could really make a whole video on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies. I love them so much. Special interest goggles on. Cut that out. That was so cringe. Oh my god. But yeah, I could talk about Texas Chainsaw Massacre for like hours. I have. My friends hate it when I do that. But maybe I will. I probably will, because this is my YouTube channel. I can do whatever I want, and I can talk about how good a boy Bubba is until the fucking cows come home, and no one can do a damn thing about it. And then in the video, Thomas Hewitt, get a grip. I don't like him. I don't like the new movies, and I know I said that this isn't about the movies or feelings on the movies themselves. It's just about the boys. I dislike the remakes so much that it taints my view of their Leatherface, and I don't like him. He's not a sweet boy. He is not a sweet or good boy. Some people like him. They're wrong, and that's okay. It's okay to be wrong in America. We're given that privilege. But I'm right, and I don't like Thomas Hewitt. He's the inferior Leatherface, and nothing on God's green earth could change my mind about that. So here's the completed tier list. I'm looking at it, and I'm really starting to realize a lot of very dark things about myself. But that's okay. That's what we're here for. We're both going to learn some very dark things about each other as we continue on through this channel. And isn't that just beautiful? Isn't it great to learn about yourself? If you want me to learn about you, I did make this tier list myself. I'm going to link it down below in the description. So if you want to do it and you want to, at me on Twitter and tell me how wrong I was and how I'm a fucked up guy and how I afforded, way too many leniencies to these people. Or if I was too harsh. I don't know. Some of you are freaks like that. Some of you probably think I was too harsh on these boys. And Amanda. And Glenn. Glenn's not a point. I'm sorry, Glenn. But yeah, so feel free to do it yourself. Post it on Twitter, at me in it. Yell at me. I love getting yelled at. It's a psychological effect from my childhood. If you think, there's a character that wasn't here that really should have been, you can just at me with them too, and I'll probably rank them. Not in a separate video. I'll just tell you. You're not that special. But I try to keep it to, mainly, like slasher archetype villains. Saw was stretching it a little, so I really tried to not, get a little too out there with it. Stick around on the channel if you want to see more fun content like this, or fun content different from this. I'm working on some bigger projects now, which is why I've been trying to kind of fill the time with, cute little stuff like this in the meantime before I really get this thing up and running. So, watch this space. Subscribe so that you can say that you subscribed when I was small. And then when I'm big, you'll get nothing in return, really, except clout, a feeling of like belonging and meaningfulness. I wish I had that. Sorry, seasonal depression is really fucking getting me this year, boys. On that note, man, I wasn't kidding when I said that my theme for this video would be getting inexplicably serious at the end. What an awful channel theme. Oh my god. Well, I guess you can only really be yourself, huh? Fucking hell. I'll see you guys all later. Bye.